Welcome to the Atlanta SEO for Local Businesses Meetup. I'm Tricia Clements. I'm one of your co-organizers, and Andy Simpson is here. He is our other co-organizer, and he's going to be really heading off this meetup today. Andy's going to be talking about doing a live business site audit and Google business profile audit. And he's going to do that for Greg Collier's website, and Greg is here as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and let Andy go ahead and start. But I want to tell you, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We will come in afterwards, answer those in the chat. And I'm also going to put some links in the chat as well for you. So, so you might want to have that up and take a look at that. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Andy.
Thank you very much, Tricia. I am going to do the classic and say I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to introduce, I don't know where Greg is in your grid of pictures and faces, but I'm going to introduce Greg in a minute, whose site we're going to be looking at. But some of you do not know me, so I'm just going to do the classic, this is me and this is what I do. So let me share my screen. Share screen. This one, share. Okay, there's no deck to share because obviously we're doing this live. So just quickly, can you see my screen?
Right now it's a black screen.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, we had a little bit of hiccup there, so sorry about that.
That's okay.
I think PowerPoint killed my, that's classic. I've got so many monitors. It's opened up on that. Anyway, you get the point. Let me just open that. This is me. I'm Andy Simpson. I'm married with 2 cats. I'm married to the lovely wife, Debbie. She's the reason I'm over here in the United States. I have 2 cats, Bart and Lisa. Now, I did have another cat called Maggie. So Bart, Lisa, Maggie, the clue is in my name, Simpson. So that's why we've got 3 cats called characters from The Simpsons. My vet finds that very amusing. I'm from Leeds in England, and if you've got no idea where that is, there it is. It's 4,000 miles away in that direction. So it's now that part of England is considered the north of England. So that's, to me, that's why I don't sound posh from the south. I'm in the north, in the Yorkshire, Leeds. So that's where I live. I've been over here for 8 years now. I've been doing this web stuff for 25-ish years. SEO for 20, and I've been specifically doing legal SEO for 7 years. And I work for the wonderful Digital Law Marketing, who specialize in attorney websites across the country in the United States. You will find me on Twitter. I like to tweet and chat to people and share observations and techniques that I have found working for me. I tweet them out there, so you can see my Twitter handle there. If you want to follow me, that would be great. Last year and the year before, 2020 and 2021, Darren Shaw from White Spark asked, along with 40 other local SEO experts, asked us to take part in the local search ranking factors guide, which, believe you me, is a massive questionnaire that we have to fill in. I'm also, actually, there's a picture there that just made me smile. There's my colleague is there with me as well, Amy Toman. She's very big in local search. She's my work colleague, and it's where we share our tips and what is working in local search, both in GMB and organically on websites, you know, hints and tips, what does work and what's not working. So I took part in that, very honored to do that. So that's me. So I do a lot of local search. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at a local business site. This is the site. It's real estate photography and videography from Greg. And Greg is with us today. I'm going to stop. Can people see Greg in the chat on this video?
I think it depends on if he is speaking and how they have their speaker grid set
okay,
up.
so Greg, I just want to say to Greg, I had a lovely conversation with Greg last week just to get a little insight about who and what he does. and a little bit about what we might be talking about today. So Greg, I think I asked you how you got into the whole photography business. Yeah. And you shared a great story of how this has led to the real estate that you do today.
Yeah, basically, I was one of those kids that always had the camera in my hand. Fortunately, I got a chance to get involved in sports photography, and I did a few high school games. Some people saw some of my photographs, and then I got invited, get this, to start covering college and NFL. So I was covering the Atlanta Falcons, shooting with my 500 millimeter lens, and you see all those big lenses and things you see on television. So I had that. And the way I ended up getting into real estate photography, I was showing at this gathering, a gentleman, my photographs. He didn't believe me. He's like, "What do you mean? You do the NFL?" And so I was showing them the photographs, and they were so nice, and this one lady that was just kind of standing off to the side, she saw the photographs. She was like, "Oh my God, those photographs are so clear, so crisp. They look beautiful. They look like they should be in a magazine." And I said, "Well, they are in magazines. They are in the newspaper." And she goes, "Oh, really?" And then she says, "Do you think you could photograph a house?" And I thought to myself, man, I'm photographing Julio Jones, Grady Jarrett, and NFL. A house, it's not moving. Of course I can do that, right? Well, I got in there, and it was the biggest challenge I'd ever had with anything, because sometimes you're photographing an empty room. You're photographing a staircase. I mean, what are you getting in an empty room, right?
Yeah. So
the biggest challenge there, it was the lighting. Every room, you may have some rooms, you got big windows, some you have no windows. And it was so challenging that I thought, oh my God, this is taking me to every edge that I could go to with my skill set. So I ended up falling in love with it. I mean, I really love bringing a dead house to life, with the photography part of it, the lighting, and also, when my clients decide that they want not just the photographs, they want the virtual tour. So now you're bringing something to life that's really dead. And I just enjoy doing it now.
No, and you see, after listening to that, I thought that's wonderful. And looking at your site now, I think we can see Greg's site on the screen. None of that passion and enjoyment of what he does is on the site. We're not sharing that story. And I think that's a little bit that's missing from Greg's site. Obviously, for that story that he's just shared there, how he got into photography, he is a professional photographer. He's been doing it for years. Really, we just need an about us tab on there where Greg can share his story. The problem with, in my eyes, the problem with photography at the moment, or has been for a few years, anybody now with a digital camera or a smartphone with 40 million pixel whatever thinks they're a photographer. So every man, boy, oh yeah, I'm a photographer, I'm going to advertise. So that's some of the market Greg is up against. So if I came to Greg's site and went, wow, this guy's been doing, look at his photographs from his past, look what he's doing now. If there's a picture of Greg, I think, okay, I can build a picture of what Greg does and what he's about. So that's a bit of a critique, saying I personally think some of that story should be on the site, a little bit about Greg, so we actually know who the person is. That aside, I'm not going to start with the website. I'm going to start with Greg's. I nearly said GMB. Should be a drinking game. Every time I say GMB, that we should. But anyway, that maybe another time. So his GBP listing, his Google business profile. There it is. There is a link. I don't know if it might be in the chat now. A link to Greg's listing. So we're going to go into the profile, and I'm going to suggest what's missing and what maybe Greg can do to make that a little bit better. And we're going to look at certain elements of the GBP listing. So just on the front page, this is how I would see Greg's brand if I Googled him. And I think I've got another example of, and this is how I might see him in the 3-pack. So we can see him here. Okay, so there I did professional photographer in. Now, how do you say McDonough?
Well, that's exactly how you say it. You
Okay.
made it sound so much better than me, but it's actually pronounced McDonough.
McDonough.
McDonough, yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay.
But we'll take it with your tonality.
Stop it. Anyway, right. So let's go back to Greg's listing there. Now, obviously, being a photographer, what we want to see in there on the photograph section, and we've got many photographs. You cannot have. I think we're going to come to this in a second. You cannot have, if you're a photographer, you can't have enough photographs on your GMB listing. This is what a lot of my clients struggle with. You know, if you're a personal injury lawyer, there's only so many car crash pictures that you can upload there, and slip and fall, dog bites. You can't really take a picture of the dog that's biting you, really. So being a photographer, then it's probably pretty simple. You've also got some video up there. I would add more video because I know you do a lot of drone work as well. So that would be nice to see on there. But basically, Greg, you can't add enough photographs to your listing. So we'll come to that. Your website. Okay, so I'm just going to move down the listing as we see it on the screen. The website link on there, if I hover over it, now I've checked this behind the scenes in the dashboard, that doesn't actually have your HTTPS link. It's just your HTTP web address on there. So it's going to your HTTP address when somebody clicks on it and then being redirected to your HTTPS website. So ideally,
you hovered somewhere. What did you hover?
So down on the bottom left, if you hover over that, and now you actually can't see it because it just tells me the domain name. But going into your dashboard, I do know where I'm looking. Info. I can see that your URL is just your HTTP.
Okay, and what should be there?
That should be the HTTPS. That should be your secure web link.
Okay.
However, the other thing wrong. Oh, okay. I'll finish what my brain's bouncing already about this. We're not tracking. We don't know when somebody clicks on that. Let's go back to your listing. When somebody clicks on that website link and comes through to your website, we're not recording that visit in Google Analytics. So we've no idea what's going on when that person came through, where they went to on your website. Did they bounce? Which pages did they look at? We can't track that link through to your site. Okay. So I'm going to show you how we can add tracking to that link. So I think we actually talked about it in my last webinar that I did about UTM tagging. And this is a classic example of where we can add a UTM tag to track people clicking through from your GMB listing. Because if they click through now in Google Analytics, it just goes into the general traffic, or it might go into organic, but typically it just falls into the bucket. Google doesn't mark that traffic as coming from your GMB listing without this tracking on it. Okay, yeah. But we're going to come back to that.
Also, that when you go into your Google business profile insights, they're not always accurate. So a lot of people just think if they go in there, they'll see it. So that's also why this is important, what Andy's talking about.
Trisha is talking about this insights area in your GMB listing. Down here, we have clicks to your website. So let's just do a quarter, visit your website. So you can see people clicking, but this information isn't recorded in analytics. Okay, and what Trisha was saying, this isn't accurate, 100% accurate either. Well, neither is Google Analytics, but that's another story altogether. So that's the insights information that about clicking, and this information only gets started. There's no past data. It'll only show you the last quarter. There's no data going back over time immemorial unless you're using a paid for service where you can record that information. Anyway, don't get me started. This is great. Request a quote. That's fantastic that you've got on there. Now, have you noticed people using that, Greg?
No, I haven't.
Okay. It's possibly because, you know, we need to give your listing a bit more boost. So maybe that's one reason. Now we've got to address the elephant in the room. I'll do a silent pause there. Greg C Real Estate Photography. Is your official company name Greg C Real Estate Photography?
No, it's just Greg C Photography.
Okay, so at the moment, you're using keyword modifiers in your business name to try and rank for that term, real estate photography.
That's what I did.
Which is fine, but it's sort of against Google's guidelines. Well, it is, not so. So to be able to use that name, the easiest, cheapest, quickest fix is to get a DBA, doing business as. It's not expensive. I don't know if you go to state, I don't know if you can do it locally at local level, state level. Tricia, do you know that for Atlanta?
Usually you file that with the county, and it, I think. And
it's only it's not expensive, is it?
I don't remember, because I looked into it one time, but I also want to just add into while Andy's giving this information that this is not legal advice. Talk to your CPA and your accountant before doing any of this, but he's just saying to get it in compliance with Google. And Amy said she's seen it in the Secretary of State. I have Georgia. I'm not sure. Maybe I've looked up because Georgia does not have where you can actually search someone's DBA. So that's why I don't remember where exactly. I know they do record them in the counties. But whoever you used for your incorporation or your CPA should be able to tell you.
Okay, so you can still do business. You can still do business as. You can still be, you are still Greg C Photography, but to cover your bases, I would recommend that you do a DBA and get a note of Greg C Real Estate Photography. Is my professional advice. And we can talk about, there's some tips I'm going to talk about with Greg today. And we'll be talking more about it offline. I'm like hitting bullet points today and covering a few hints and tips and stuff. But so we can talk about that, talk with Tricia and myself about that later, Greg. So we've got the domain, the name sorted. Obviously, keywords will help you for real estate photography, which is a good thing, but we want to try and keep it above board. Website link is incorrect. Oh, needs updating. Not incorrect, needs updating. Now we can also add an appointment link here. Now you don't need any clever appointment software on your website. They're not going to, it can take the user through, say it was a dentist or somewhere where you need to make an appointment. You can take the user through to an appointment, time, date, choosing a date to meet the dentist or whatever. But it can just click through to your contact us page. So we're going to add that URL in a second in your dashboard, and it just clicks through to your contact us page. Very easy to do. And it's another link on your GMB listing through to your website. So not only have you given them a chance to link through from your website link, you've given them another link to your site from the appointment link. Okay, opening hours is fine there. Products, you do have products on there. How many do you have on? I would have your wedding photography. I'd have everything on there. I'd have your wedding photography. You don't need to show a price. I'd have your drone work, because obviously that's very popular. Even your sport photography. I'd have as many products, again, visually on your listing as there, your products area, you can advertise your services as a product. You don't need a physical product that you're selling to be able to use this section. So that's really to other businesses that might be watching. Use it visually. It looks great on your GMB listing. Q&A. Anybody can ask Greg or any business, another business, a question. And they typically in today's world, you would probably expect an answer within a day or two. It would be nice, because if you don't answer the question, it just leaves a question hanging there. The person might think you're not very professional. So I, as just a user, can go in there, click on that and ask Greg a question. You know, do you do drone work? Do you travel to up to Cumming? Is it too far? You know, you can. So what I would recommend here, Greg, is do you get classic common questions when we pick up the phone? Yes, I do that. Yes, common questions that you might get asked by a customer. Some of those, some of those you could actually, as the business, you can post your own question. So as great, you can go in here as the business, as I am right now, as because I'm a manager of your listing, I can post a question from the business, and then I can answer the question as the business. Okay, great. So if you get, again, it's great for answering that commonly asked question that you get asked all the time when somebody picks up. Some people are going to read it, some aren't. Now, what you can do is a little trick for you. Let me see if I can. Personal injury. I'm sorry, I go into near me. Let's see if this company here, just using you as an example. I want to see that. What I'm doing is trying to see their GMB listing and see if they've got, they don't have any questions. I'm trying to find, because typically an attorney has questions asked, and I just want to show you a little tip. Let's go with Kenny. Kenny, don't let me down. This is the beauty of live audits. Please have a Q&A, at least one. Did I miss it? See questions there, good. So this business has had 2 questions asked, and we can see them there. Now, if you or somebody likes this question, like it, more than 3 times, typically the first question or the question with the most thumbs up, that question will appear here. It won't say, see all questions. You'll actually see the question with the most thumbs up. So if you've got a really common question that you get asked all the time, ask the question as a business, answer the question as a business, and then you just need 3 Google accounts. I've got at least 3 to like the question, and then it will appear in on your GMB profile. So if you want to see an example of that, I do a Taylor and Ring, a blatant plug. This is my wonderful client in Los Angeles, in California. So there, this question has been asked, has been asked by the business, been answered by the business, and it's got more than 3 thumbs up. So therefore, it appears on the GMB profile. Okay, right. So we're not interested in that anymore. Let's go back to your listing. So that's your Q&A section. Was there anything else? You're posting as well, which is wonderful. Keep the posts up. Post on all your top main practice areas. your service areas, so your drone work, your wedding photography, anything that you do, your services, Greg, you should be just, how often? Once a month. Just make sure your bases are covered. that you've done a drone one, you've done your real estate one, and because these things, your post can appear as a justification, can appear on your actual 3-pack in Google Maps. And I'm going to cover that later on as well, what justifications are. Okay, so keep posting, great, blah, blah, blah. Look at your reviews. If you get reviews, sorry, I can't remember, you have, brilliant. Always respond to a review. There's a whole, obviously, talk we could do on reviews and responding to reviews, but it's great to see that you've responded to every review that you've got there, the good and the bad. So that's excellent work. Very good. So I can. Right, let's go into the dashboard because there's a few things I want to cover, and we're time is, as always, against me. So I'm going to keep this. So let's go to info. So this is Greg's dashboard within GBP. I am going to, now the jury's out on this one, but you don't need, this won't do you any targeting service areas with your GBP. I'm just going to say GMB. Doesn't do you any, if you've given, you supplied your address and you're a local business and you've given your address details, then you're not a service area business. Even though you.
One question on that, Andy, the address on there, I believe that might be a home address.
It is.
So why don't we talk about that, Andy, for a second?
In what way?
Because he shouldn't have it showing, his address showing.
Well, I believe Greg must be like, I'm sorry, I've assumed a little bit there. I'm assuming that Greg's like, I don't care where people see that I live.
Well, you know, I do care.
There you go.
And here it is. Because I have probably $30,000 worth of camera equipment, right? The reason why that address is there, you know, I had someone talking to me about SEO or something or another, and they told me, hey, you know, putting the address there gives you visibility on Google Maps when people are searching or something or whatever. And that's the only reason why it's there. But I would love for it not to be there.
Yeah.
Because
So
you never know when someone looks at that and says, oh, if he's in photography, he's got expensive equipment. Right?
Yeah. So I would say that having it your home address and showing is against Google guidelines. If you don't have like signage and all of that stuff, and people coming to your actual like office at your home during off hours. So in that case, you would want to hide your address. And Andy, since you're logged in, you might be able to tell him. But that's one thing a lot of people don't realize, that is against Google guidelines if that's your home address and you don't actually have signage and see people during those hours that you're open.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll I think because that's going to take not too long, but I'm going to jump over that. But that's a great point that Trisha's obviously just made.
We can talk about that later, Greg. Yeah, and it shouldn't affect the rankings either, being not having the pin on the map. I think you'll be fine. That was something probably several years ago, someone told you that.
Yeah, that's actually great. And I missed that point when I was chatting to Greg last week. You know, are you a service area or are you so yeah, no. So okay, so that's the address. Now, one thing I did miss was why I did that is I'm pointing up the screen in front of me. So the photographer, you can add more categories to your listing here, Greg. Yes, you're a photographer, fantastic. But let's just look at what other option. And it wants to be your main business, your main category. It's
real estate.
Yeah. But the problem with real estate is that there's not a real estate category.
Right.
So photographer is probably, and we know you do rank for real estate photography. So let me add another category. So if I did real estate, I was just going make sure that the photographer does not appear. So there you go. Real estate photographer does not appear. However, you Would you say you do wedding photography?
Yes.
So we can select that. Would you say you did aerial photography?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I didn't know in your photographer world, if your drone and if you actually had to go up in a plane to be classed as an aerial photographer. So there, we've already added 2 additional categories, and you will appear locally for those additional categories. However, people with wedding photographer set as their primary category will most likely appear above you because that's their primary category. Okay.
That makes sense.
And same for aerial. What you don't want to set you're a photographer, you don't want your main one there to be aerial photographer when you're actually more real estate. You want to be, because the classic for lawyers is they set themselves as lawyer and they don't set themselves as personal injury lawyer or criminal lawyer. They just set themselves lawyer, which is just covers all bases. So they haven't specified exactly what their main category is. Okay, let's come down here. Brilliant. Now this is probably going to disappear, this short URL, Greg. One day, Google has now removed this service from GMB. So this is just going to not exist one time. So that'll be annoying. I can see the time. I'm waffling on too much. Let's add this UTM code, this tracking code to the URL here. So let's take that. I've got a copy of Notepad open on my other screen, which I will actually slide across so you can see my workings. Here we go. So I've taken your URL. So that's your URL there. We want to make it HTTPS for your new secure site. Probably been secure for a couple of years now, at least. This is the UTM code. This is the tracking code that we're going to add to the end of that domain name. Has no effect on rankings, doesn't affect click-through, but this UTM code only wants to be used here. Doesn't want to be used on Yext or Yelp or Yellow Pages, this is unique to your GMB listing. So what we've got here, source equals Google. So the traffic source, this is information for Google Analytics. We're telling Google, for us, we can see that the traffic's come from Google. We're putting it in under your organic traffic, and we're going to tag this as coming from I put there GMB-Greg-C, all lowercase, just broken it up there with hyphens. Just so it makes more sense. It could have just been campaign equals Greg, but I put GMB there because we can use it for other things. We can search for the word GMB and it'll show URLs and all sorts in Google Analytics. But anyway, so any businesses that are watching, you can use exactly the same piece of code there. And again, it's in the meetup chat. We put it in there. I don't know if it's in the chat now. And all you would have to do is your business name here. Your business. Just change it in there, right? So what happens when you do that? Great. So put the S in there. What we do with it, we take it, we put it on the end of your domain name. So now it's that URL that we paste into here, Greg. Apply. Okay, so under review, that'll get updated probably in a few minutes. Appointment URL I was talking about, we can also add a UTM code to that. So we can go in there, and what I need to do is get a link to your contact us page, which is that. So let me just show you what I'm doing. So there's the link to your contact us page. I can use the same UTM code to there, but and I can pop it on the end there. But I need to make this unique so that I know it's come from the appointment link. So where I put GMB, Greg C, I can just put in there appointment. So that link is now unique to that appointment link.
Oops, are you sharing your, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay. We're good.
Sorry, did I go off?
No, you're good now. I didn't see it a second, but you're good.
So this is your appointment link, apply. So now we've got that additional link coming through to your website. You've got appointments and your GMB. I'm going to really have to speed up on this. I knew there was a lot to cover. So that's your link sorted out. We've got the UTM tracking. So what does all that mean? Where will I see this traffic now going forward? So in your Google Analytics, now just a little side note for the viewers, Greg did not have, unfortunately, Google Analytics. He had a Google Analytics account, but somewhere along the line, the script of GA, Universal, was not on the website. So although he had a Google Analytics account, we weren't recording any data because that piece of JavaScript was not on the site. So just last week, I added it on for him. So we've just started recording data for the website to see what traffic he's getting. Obviously, another conversation about Google Analytics altogether. But Greg, and again, we can talk about this later. If you want to see what traffic you're getting from your Google Analytics listing, we can go to, so you've logged in. Let me try and take it to a page you might log in. And so you might see something like this. You go down to the left-hand side and choose acquisition. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. You come down to campaigns and you do all campaigns. And remember, we called the campaign GMB-Greg-C. You will see that listed here in the next few days. Once people start clicking on that link to your GMB list, you'll see that appear here. And then you'll just click on it and it'll just show you the unique traffic that you're getting to your GMB listing from that link. And you'll see, and because we've got the two, we've got GMB for the main one and we've got GMB appointments, you'll see those two listings there appear here as people start clicking on them. Okay, and that's where you see it. That's the quick way of finding where you would see your Google My Business traffic from your Google My Business list, Google Business Profile listing. I think if this was a drinking game, I think we'd be drunk by now. Right, so I really did want to cover services, and we've got 20 minutes. I'm sorry, we're not even got onto location. I'm going to jump straight into location pages as soon as I've covered this bit. Okay, services. And we've supplied a link in the chat and in the meetup group are justifications, GBP justifications. And there's a link if you want to know more about justifications to the brightlocal.com. So please read that article so I don't need to explain all about what justifications are. These things, this wording here, this will all come clear any second now, is what appears in the 3-pack. Okay. So when somebody's looking for you locally, we've got you listed there, look, Greg. So that provides wedding and engagement. Now, this is why I want to, this is the bit I want to cover. However, the company below you, it says senior portrait photographer provides that. And let's just have a look at a few other competitors. Real estate photography provides. Now, where's that information coming from? It's coming from your services list here, which we can edit. Let me just go back let me just go back to that listing. Here we go. So we can edit those. So the problem with your listing is provides wedding and engagement, but you don't provide wedding and engagement. You supply wedding and engagement photography. So you just go to your services. So we can see it there. Let's find wedding and engagement. Sorry, I'm going to have to click on that. Wedding engagement, wedding. It's near higher up, isn't it? Here we go.
Well, now, are we saying that's my primary thing, or
No, these are your services that Google has looked and scraped your website and gone, these are, or you've added some of these, but Google's always also come across your site and gone, these are the things that we think that you're supplying from looking at the information on your website. Okay. But unfortunately, the word wedding and engagement appears in Google, provides wedding and engagement. We want to say photographer at the end of that.
Yeah.
I've got Google going off in the background, so I apologize if you can hear her telling me off. So all we need to do is, can I add to that? How do I edit that?
You should be able to. I'm not sure why it's not.
If I recall correctly, it didn't give me the choice to put photography. It was like those words came up out of a drop down or something, and I just selected the ones that.
Okay, okay, I'm just gonna, because this is live and it's classic. So you don't provide baby showers. So here, but you do
Photography, yeah, okay.
But you do baby showers photography. I have no idea why that other listing isn't editing. We might just have to delete it. And so you don't have to give a price. You don't have to give a service description. And that one's now saved. Property tours. You don't do property tours, but you do property tour or tour photography. We can edit these later, Greg. I'm just using these as photography.
Well, that would be videography, but I'll change it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the idea. So now, if we had been able to edit that wedding and engagements listing, we would have been able to add the word photographer there.
Yeah.
And that would have been updated. Now, editing your, actually a little shout out to Amy Toman, who brought this to my attention when we're looking at attorneys and our clients. Because, one of our listings might say provides car crashes. And they say, well, we don't provide car crashes. We provide car crash accident lawyers, but we don't provide car crashes or slip. We don't provide slip and fall. You get the idea. So go in there and look at your services and see which ones aerial image photography, for example. Okay, do you get the idea? And to add more, you can just add another service here at the bottom. You just add a new one just by clicking on that. Okay. You can. Okay. Was that clear? Because your competitors are doing it, your local competition are doing it. So let's just, again, real estate photographer, Dean here. He's up in Madison because I was doing some research up there. Real estate photography, real estate. And this all comes from, let's just conclude with this, that all comes from your services within your Google business, your Google business profile area there. You might want to test, because we're looking at, let's move on to location and the website. You might want to add in there, and please don't overspam this, but you might want to add the geo as well. So you might have Atlanta real estate photography and McDowell, that's it, McDonough, real estate photography. Yeah. So use the geo in there as well for your targeted areas. Don't go mad with a list of, this isn't for spamming. So test with that. So, right, let's get on with the website. We've got less time now than ever before.
So you're saying don't put every town, just pick a few.
Don't go mad. Choose your main areas, because honestly, we don't know even if it's working. You could be wasting your time completely. So it's not, It's like geotagging images. Don't waste your time geotagging your images, but we're testing at the moment. We're seeing if adding a geo helps in any way, but it's not. So it will make your listing stand out if you actually have your geo that you're trying to target. So it actually says Atlanta real estate photographer, but it'll also stand out if it says real estate photographer. The Atlanta bit is not a ranking factor in any way. It's just what appears to the user when they're looking for their location and is there a photographer nearby? Okay, yeah. Okay, the website, finally, let's get into it. Well, I'm not critiquing the design. I've already said about having an About Us page there. I'm not talking about the layout and should you have this button there. That's a completely different conversation. Greg is trying to target this main area is Atlanta. So where is this site falling down and what recommendations am I going to give? Firstly, what I'm going to do is look for the word Atlanta on the homepage, the most important page. So I've just done a Control F looking for the word Atlanta. Atlanta is not mentioned anywhere on the homepage. So it's not, ideally it should be your H1 header. If you are an Atlanta real estate photographer, your H1 should be Atlanta H1, followed up with some Atlanta specific photography, real estate copy, some content on there. There's very little content. It's great with the images. It's almost sometimes you're the reverse of a lot of websites. It's a lot of text or some text, and the images, they've got very little images. You're a photographer, so you're very image set in your head. Or you are, that's what you are, your image. But there's no copy. There's nothing saying on here about being an Atlanta real estate photographer. The only thing that you've kind of got right is your title tag for the page. Let's just get rid of that message thing here. So the H1, the title tag, if it wasn't, there we go. Did you see that then? It's real estate photographer ATL. So you have mentioned real estate photography ATL, which we know is shot for Atlanta, but that's the only place in the code and on the site, this page, where it mentions ATL, Atlanta. If we look at your competition, so I did real estate. So this is an idea of what's lacking. So I looked at some of your competitors. So apologies for showing you people that you might not be. So this is a guy that popped up, a company that popped up for real estate photography in Atlanta. Let's just do it again. Let's do a search for Atlanta. Atlanta appears. Look at that. Bang. That'll be their H1 header. Atlanta real estate photography. And we're smacking Google with that immediately. And then throughout the copy, we've got the word Atlanta. Here we go. This is so for us wanting to target a geo for your website, this is what's missing. We're not telling Google when it arrives, we're telling it what you do, but we're not telling Google where you are. Yeah. So on here, they've mentioned, and this is all you need, maybe a bit more, to your wording, but this is the kind of copy that you need. You need content on your website, wording. You've got the imagery, you're killing it with the images. It's the copy. And that applies to, so let's just look at one more competitor site, Control F, Atlanta. Again, Atlanta is on this website, mainly down there in the footer look, but at least it's got it on there. Atlanta, it got a bit of copy. So this site, and then I think one more, Control F, Atlanta, 7 times. This is another. Atlanta appears in some of the reviews. Anyway, we're not looking at their websites. So back to yours. This is what's lacking this is what's missing from your site. Not only that.
But where would those words go? I don't.
You're gonna have. We're gonna again. We're gonna talk about this later. We can with this template, this look, this design. We're gonna insert the copy within the page. So maybe between your so we don't hit them immediately with prices, for example. We might have a section in there, a text section, with copy about being a real estate, you know, the services and what you do in that copy there, in that section there on the website. Yeah.
Okay.
We can probably be able to insert another text box. Now, you also do so if we go to your real estate portfolio, let's just click through on that. Again, killing it. I've come to your website because I've found you maybe in your GMB listing, or I know you've given me your card or something. So again, this page is your real estate photography main page, but again, it's got no copy on there. So your H1 would be real estate Atlanta, photography Atlanta, with some copy. You've got the images, fantastic. But we're not telling Google anything about your website. Even your title tag of the page does not contain, I apologize, it contains ATL, but that's all. It's lacking geo-related content. Yeah. What you can also slip on, I think I've mentioned it in my meetup notes, although we're talking about, is adding, just to have, I'll tell you what, because of the time, is the near me copy content, adding near the term personal injury lawyer. I say that a million times a day. Is there an Atlanta real estate photographer near me? You actually have that as copy. Have I got it here? So I can just pull it onto the screen. Here we go. Can you see that when I do that, or does my screen go black?
I didn't see
yeah. What did you do?
I've dragged Notepad onto the screen.
No, we can't see that.
I don't
Okay, so that's.
Are you looking for your near me notes?
Yes. So
Okay.
So that information about near me is on the meetup group. I've explained about adding some near me copy to your homepage, to your drone flying page, to your wedding photography. You know, you're going to have on there, is there an Atlanta wedding photographer near me as your H2 title? And then underneath that, you just have a little bit of copy saying, yeah, Greg Collier is here. We're located here. We cover the greater Atlanta. You answer the question that you just asked in your H2 about the near me comment. Okay, location pages we've got. Oh God, 6 minutes. I apologize. Now, if you can all look at the meetup thread, I've given you 2 examples of how Greg wants to target other locations. And I apologize, we're running out of time. He wants to, let me take an example location of what Greg wants to, where he wants to cover. So it's the nearby counties, in some of the counties in and around the Atlanta area. So we've got one here, Clayton, we've got Newton, we've got Rockdale, we've got Henry. Now, what you can do is create a page with the URL called Rockdale. Let me find my notes. And there's no good, I'm sorry, there's no good pulling my notepad across to the screen. We could call it Rockdale-real-estate-photography. So it's just a new page on the website. The header would be real estate photography Fulton. Sorry, let's stick with Fulton because I'll remember that one. Real estate photography Fulton Common GA. You've got, again, Greg, you've got some copy about real estate photography, followed with the gallery. And what I would do, I just upload that. Once we've got your site sorted out for Atlanta, I'd add this location page and get it indexed by Google, and then see how it's ranking for Fulton real estate photography. Your competition for that search term might not be very strong. Your Google My Business listing isn't going to appear because Fulton's this part of Atlanta and your GMB's down here, your GBP's down here. So there's a good chance your 3-pack and your map listing is not going to appear. But in the organic search results, let's just do it. Let's see who you are up against. So Fulton, I can spell honest. Fulton real estate. Fulton real estate photographer. So there's the map. It's playing up. So look at that. It's this is actually, I spotted this yesterday. This map isn't actually correct. So if I put in GA there, so it actually knows I'm looking at Georgia. There we go. So Google now knows that I'm talking about Georgia and not somewhere in Texas, I think that was. Anyway, so there's the local pack. So it's all real estate photographers in that Fulton area. But this is where I'm talking about. It's trying to get that page, targeting that Fulton real estate photographer page to list somewhere in here. And looking at who you're up against. Okay, so this guy, let's have a look at Iran Watson. So he's probably got in there. Yeah, there you go. And again, look, he's got copy on look how simple that website is. But he's got real estate, he's got the words, he's got the geolocation, he's got it in his content. So that's why he's ranking for that particular search term. However, Greg, you can do a much better job than that by he hasn't got a H1 header saying Fulton real estate photography. He then doesn't have the copy that we're going to add to make your page better than this. And this page is ranking on page 1 for that search term. Now, when you're doing location pages, if you want to build off the location of Fulton, because your main site is going to be your primary site is about Atlanta, but we want to add on different locations. So I'm going to use Fulton as the example. If you want to say, I want to do Fulton aerial photography, I want to do Fulton wedding services, I want to fill Fulton real estate pages, I would go with and again, if you've been looking at my example I've got online, I would go with the / Fulton, and that Fulton page would be your main Fulton photography page. And then you come off that URL. So it would be / Fulton / real estate photography / wedding photography. So you've got 3, 4, 5 different pages, services pages, but they're all targeting the Fulton GA area. And you've grouped them all together. So they're one little silo, they're one little grouping of, so when Google looks at those pages, it looks at its Fulton, and then all the pages that are under Fulton are your wedding and your real estate and your drone photography, etc. If you do it the other method where it's just, you've just put the word full, so it's your domainname.com / Fulton - real estate photography. It's just among all the other pages of the website. Now, a lot of the pages are all Atlanta based. So we've just thrown into the confusion one about Fulton. If you do it separately on the URL structure I've explained in the meetup chat thread, you're grouping all the Fulton pages together. And then you do another then you do your other locations just like that for Newton. You've got your Newton page with Newton specific services under that. Now, don't go crazy thinking this is going to kill it, I'm going to rank for everywhere. Test these pages. Do target 2 or 3 new locations and see how they start performing. Some are going to work really well because of the lack of competition, and some aren't going to work at all. I think, but the first thing on the list is sorting out your Atlanta geolocation for the main site before, in this example with Greg, before he moves on to the other location pages, because we don't want to confuse, you know, okay, so you've just given me some Fulton pages, but the site's about Atlanta. Which page do you want me to rank? I think we need to stable with Atlanta first, and then we can start introducing the new location pages. Okay.
So, Andy, when you're doing that, how on the menu at the top would you have that for people to see, those location pages?
It's a really good question. Do you want the easy answer or the harder? Now, remember, I don't want to say the word landing page, but these location pages that you're doing are landing pages. Yeah. So if someone is looking for Fulton real estate photography, they're going to land on your Fulton real estate photography page. They're not going to, okay, and then they're presented, blah, blah, blah. My name's Greg. This is what I do. If you want to find more about me, contact me here. Go to my About Us button. Have a look at some photos. So they can just navigate off to the Atlanta focused content. Your prices, because it's not different. If you're in Fulton or Clayton, I doubt if the prices are different or that much different. You don't have a different pricing structure. So they can go off and navigate other areas of the website. Typically on a website like this, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go to more than 2 pages. They'll probably land on your real estate page, your Fulton targeted real estate page, and then go, okay, I want to contact this guy, and then go to your contact us page, which is fine. You don't need a separate Fulton contact us page because you just, why? Because there's no point in this. So navigation wise, so if somebody comes to Greg's page and lands on the home page, they're not, I'm saying they're not, I'm assuming a lot here. They're not looking for, on the home page, you can have links to the Fulton, the Clayton areas. You know, we do photography, we do real estate in Fulton and Clayton and et cetera, et cetera. And those words would be linked through to your Fulton page, your Clayton page. But me as a user, I'm not landing on here and going, I wonder if he's mentioned that he does Clayton. Fantastic. He works at Clayton. Now let me look. I'm not looking for the specific Fulton real estate page. So in my navigation, I don't need it in my drop down. I want it in my sitemap, and I want my home page to be linking to those pages. And I want my Fulton main page to be linking to my Fulton drone page and my Fulton wedding photography page, but I don't need it in my top navigation. However, I've got a client in Atlanta and Savannah. So we've got 2 locations. The main focus of the site, where we're not using /Savannah, is all about Atlanta. However, I'm trying to target a Savannah audience as well. So when people land on my /Savannah page, it looks like the homepage, but it's all Savannah focused. And actually, and all the content, of which there are lots and lots of pages, is all Savannah focused. So the navigation, when they go to the practice areas page, it's actually the Savannah practice. I've had to update the navigation so it stays within that Savannah world. It's not taking the user off to an Atlanta car accident page. It's taking them to a Savannah car accident page.
Okay.
So it depends how big the beast becomes of how many location pages you have, where you might have, what's happened there is it's led to having a separate navigation when they're in the Savannah part of the website.
Okay.
That makes sense? That was quite a complicated question because it depends on the website and the site.
Sorry.
And the.
Yeah.
No, it's a good question.
So
Okay,
I think we are a little bit over. So,
yes, I'm sorry. There was I think I waffled. Oh, well, that's the story of my life. I waffled on. too much, but
That's okay. So I was looking at the questions and I think we've answered quite a few of them through here.
Greg,
And do you have
Greg, I
anything?
apologize. I probably left you with more questions and answers, but we'll talk after.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can also do a follow-up on this. I think this topic is something that a lot of people are interested in. So we may have a follow-up a little bit more on this, kind of a part 2. We'll see, because I think that would be helpful to do a different additional. But
when I started looking at Greg's site and all the areas that we wanted to cover in this audit, I thought this is more than an hour, but
yes.
Well, I've got 24 hours, guys.
Yeah. Let's see. We do have one question from Marlon. For the FAQs, can you copy them exactly on your website and add them on your GBP? Yes, you can. And make sure they've got your keywords in there in the question, and then so definitely you can do
you
that.
might have a character. You might in the answer. You might have a character limit.
Yeah.
But
probably.
don't forget, with your Q&A, be careful. You want the user still to, if you answer the question, yes, some questions fine. You want the user to come through to your website and have your service. If you're just answering their question right there in front of them, they'll go, all right, fine, I've had my question answered. I'm not going to come through to your website. So be careful how much you share. You know, and to find out more, call the office and contact us through our website, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you leading them into the website.
Yes, definitely. And for word, yes, the question you can definitely put in word for word that's on your website.
And it doesn't matter, there's no duplication, there's no what's it called?
No duplicate content type thing.
Duplicate content, yeah.
Yeah,
Blah,
so
blah.
you don't have to worry about that. So okay, so I think we've got most of our questions. You all can we will post some different things in the meetup Q&A as well, and we might come back and talk a little bit more about this in a future meetup. So definitely, sorry we went a little bit over. It's a lot to go to talk about, so definitely wanted to make sure we got as much in as we could. Did you have anything else, Andy, to add?
I was going to say, we've got two things. I've covered a lot. If you're watching this later, just hit me up on Twitter. I am more than happy to, me or Tricia, happy to help, give you feedback, answers, not a problem. We've got 2 killer meetups coming up in the next couple of months. Very quickly, Tricia, do you want to cover that?
Yes, we have coming up talking about reviews and review spam and how to deal with that as a business. And we've got Curtis Boyd from Ask for Transparency coming up. And then Andy, who's the other one you've got coming up?
We've got the wonderful Bree Anderson talking to us about the terrifying, the new Google Analytics 4 that's coming out. And it's scared everybody to death. How this is going to affect or small businesses understand Google Analytics 4. If you're not following her already, there's a YouTube channel. She's on Twitter. She's an amazing, amazing person. So there's a bit of a plug already. So she's going to be talking to us in July, May, June. Where are we? Yeah.
July.
Soon.
We will notify you and send out emails to let you know but I believe she's in July.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry we went a little bit over, but it was a lot of really good information that Andy went through. So
excellent information. I mean, wow.
Yes.
You know, I think most of us hire a guy and say, hey, build our website, but they don't do all of that. And so maybe that's, you know, what the issues are sometimes.
Yeah, probably it's different developers and designers for websites do different things. So some do what Andy was talking about. So you kind of need to make sure when you're hiring someone that you're getting what you need. So if you need SEO in it, which most people do, then yes, you definitely would need to talk to them about that up front and make sure that they're working on the SEO just when they're building the site. Okay.
Thank you all.
All right, and I will have the YouTube video up soon, and we will see you all next month. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.